Welcome to Just Break Up, the podcast about love, heartbreak, and all the relationship advice you don't want to hear. My name is Sierra DeMulder.
And I'm Sam Blackwell. And today we're going to answer a letter from somebody who is wondering how to get over a friend breakup. But before we begin, we just want to give you our Surgeon General's warning, which is that Sierra and I are not licensed mental health practitioners.
No, we are not. We are not professionals. We are not trained in any of this. So please take our advice as you see fit in your own life. We're only here to offer our humble musings to hopefully shed some understanding and maybe some laughs about the incredibly rewarding, but mostly confusing experience that is love.
All right, let's get into today's letter. Today's letter is from Tragic Painter, whose pronouns are she, her, who's writing from the gallery of all my lost friendships. I recently broke up with a friend of 13 years because I noticed her being embarrassed by me. We've had our ups and downs over the years, but the hardest thing about it was feeling belittled and small whenever I hung out with her or her new friends. We both grew up in an organized religion, which I chose to leave 4 to 5 years before she did. I moved across the country, started a new life, got married, tried new things, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby. My husband and I recently had to move back to our hometown, pandemic-related financial reasons, and we ended up spending a lot more time with her and her group of friends. Within the last year or so, she also left the church we grew up in and started experimenting, but weirdly doing it behind my back. She started smoking cigarettes because she saw it on Fleabag and thought it looked cool. I found out because she pulled them out of her purse looking for her keys. We talked about her trying weed for the first time together, and I walked her through what my first time was like. She decided to try it for the first time with her new friends, who had also never tried it, and ended up having a really bad time after having way too much of an edible. Deeply relatable experience. I think a lot of people have done that. It kind of felt like the cool girl Olympics all of a sudden. She started reading smut and talking to her other friends about it and mentioning it in passing, like, oh, this isn't something you would like. I didn't like Taylor Swift as much as she did. I actually think she slaps. So when she bought her and her friends tickets to a show, she didn't tell me until after she'd bought them. She planned parties for all of her friends' birthdays. I'm talking like 4 to 5 people, and conveniently forgot that she offered to plan mine. I cried for days thinking I'd missed something, but was reassured when my husband read through texts. He bought me a flight to see my out-of-town friends as soon as he found out. She started randomly cutting me down in public, and it went as far as her looking at them and laughing and saying, OMG, why did she say that? When I made a joke about something that she'd said. My husband was there for a few of the interactions, and he was actually kind of shocked at the way that she was acting. It was full-on Mean Girls treatment. When I sat down with her to break things off, it came out of the blue, and she couldn't believe that I was dredging up the past. I kind of botched the whole conversation because I was blubbering and crying through the whole thing, but she genuinely looked so shocked and said, quote, it just seems like you don't really like me anymore. She didn't really say sorry or that she understood what I was saying. She just over-explained and kept saying that she's just forgetful. She's a mom. She doesn't remember things. She said she likes conflict because you have a chance to grow from it, but if it's easier for me to walk away and abandon our friendship, she understands. Honestly, what the fuck? My question here, after everything, is how do I move on? Did I make a mistake throwing away 13 years of friendship? Should I have said more sooner? She pops up on my social media every once in a while, and I feel an immediate pang of self-loathing when I think about what she's said about me. It's been almost a year now, and I still tear up thinking about it. I don't really have a best friend anymore other than my husband, although I have been hanging out with a new coworker a lot, so it's not all bad news. Am I being a big baby about this? Love you both. If you read this at all, thank you. Writing it out helps.
Oh, we love you. Thank you so much for writing and for trusting us with this tender letter. I think I just want to say before we dive into everything that we chose this letter as we choose many letters about friendships because I do think that there's this I don't know, what's like the non-dramatic word to say epidemic of loneliness in adult friendships?
A shared experience of
there we go.
disconnection.
Yes, I think that friendships are so delicate sometimes, and when they're not delicate, they are hard-earned and confusing because, like, We think that they don't have rules like our romantic relationships do, but they do. I don't know. We get so many letters and my own lived experience, about how hard it is to make friends later in life, outside of the structures of school and work, and also how hard it is sometimes to make truly intimate friends that you can feel like not only authentic with, but at peace with, where you feel your cup filled up again. And so often that comes with people who you've been in relationship with for years, that intimacy. And so then when we lose it, I don't know, we just feel lonely. I know I have. And so to the letter writer and to the listeners who might relate to this, you're not alone in this feeling of loneliness. Your life is full, and there are many people who love you, but the feeling of loneliness is not one that you carry by yourself. And to our letter writer, thank you for trusting us with this letter. I'm so sorry that you're still... One, I'm sorry that this happened, that this person made you feel this way, so much so that you decided to remove them from your life, and that it's still really weighing on you emotionally. So much of our response today is just going to be affirming that Sam and I think you made the right decision. We're disappointed in the way that you were treated, and we're sorry that you are still feeling so hurt by someone's potentially accidental, but definitely hurtful behavior, right? It doesn't matter what your friend's intentions were. It sounds like their actions led you to make this decision, and it's the right decision for you. We're going to get into all of that and more, but first we're going to take a really quick break.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Yes to everything that's here said about friendships, adult friendships, navigating them. Yeah, absolutely. I think that also the experience that I think is happening here too, which is like merging friends groups into other friends, like that piece is also really tricky. And I can definitely imagine for you, Tragic Painter, as somebody who's like, I've had this friend for 13 years. Like we've been good / best friends for more than a decade, right? So why is she prioritizing other relationships over us or whatever it might be? That feeling of like coming back into a place and not feeling like you're being accepted or well integrated, that's also really challenging because we don't have rule books for friendships. And I think, in so many different ways, we think of friendships as they should just be easy. They should just be simple, right? And everything should make sense. And like all human relationships, they're actually really complicated and they're actually really challenging in lots of different ways. So all that to say, you're asking this question of like, am I a big baby, right? I think of this question, this is a question I ask myself a lot. Am I making all of this up, right? Especially when I'm like in a situation where I feel like I've been aggrieved in some way, right? Or somebody has treated me badly, or, things are being sort of like under the surface happening. And I'm just like, no, I'm just making a big deal out of this and it shouldn't be a big deal out of this. So like, I so relate to this question of like, am I just being a big baby? And what I want to say is, no, you're not being a big baby, right? Like the things that your friend did and said and the way that she was acting had an impact on you, right? You felt it in your heart that you were being excluded or that she was being unkind to you and the things that she was saying or how she was saying them, right? Your partner was also seeing the ways in which she was not necessarily showing up for you in a good way, or the way that sounds like she was kind of tearing you down as well in front of her other friends. And so I just want to name that, like, you're not making a mountain out of a molehill here, right? If you're feeling this way about how she's acting and the behavior that she's exhibiting towards you, then it's real, right? Those feelings are absolutely real. They're not made up. They're not fake. They're not overreactions, right? Like this is how you're feeling. And I totally understand this impulse to say, like I'm feeling this way. She's not seeing it. And so I don't want to be around her anymore. Like, I think that that's totally reasonable and understandable. And I think that lots of friendships, end in this way, where it's really hard for somebody to see that they're behaving in a way that is hurtful. And the other person's just like, I can't do this anymore. Right. I need to take a break. I need to take a step back from this. So all this to say that I think that this is really understandable. I think that it's very reasonable for you to be feeling this type of way. And I want to say to you, even in this moment too, right, that I know that you're taking a break from this person. I know that you're sort of having a break up with this person, and you get to decide what the future of your engagement with this person looks like, right? So you can go full no contact. You can decide this person's not for me, right? And you can also, now that you've said the things that you need to say, that you've gotten this off of your chest, right? There's also an opportunity for you to say, if you're experiencing regret around this, like, oh, I think that maybe I needed to have a different conversation with you about this, right? I think that those are all possibilities here, because you get to decide how you want to continue with it and to engage with this person. And I know that it feels like really final or definite, and it is in some ways. And you have options available to you in this moment.
Yeah. I want to offer you one reframe from your letter before I share some of my thoughts. You open by saying, I recently broke up with a friend of 13 years because I noticed her being embarrassed by me. I just want to change that sentence structure to, I recently broke up with a friend of 13 years because she was treating me poorly and made me feel bad about myself. You know what I mean? Like, it's her. It's not, you didn't break up because you noticed her doing these things. You broke up because she was doing those things. Obviously, that's just semantics, but I just want to empower you in this decision because you're not being a baby. I think you did the right thing. This is a bummer. It hurts. It's painful. It's confusing, but you did the right thing. And I feel like if I were to guess about what was happening, again, your friend didn't write in, so we don't have her lived experience, her perspective. But if I were to guess as an outsider from this letter, I think it was a failure of merging. Sometimes people feel weird about, it seems like she was feeling some sort of way about merging her old life, new life, old friends, new friends, and didn't know how to show up in that way. And she was feeling some sort of way, whether it be anxious or jealous or literally like socially inept. And she didn't know how to merge who you know her to be with who her friends know her to be or whatnot. And this is like my mild hypothesis as to why she treated you so rudely. But this is the least important thing I'm going to say today, because it's not meant to overshadow by any means the real world impact of her behavior, which is that she made you feel bad about yourself, literally bad about yourself. We're not talking about her forgetting your birthday once. We're not talking about her like stubbing your toe. We're talking about her making you feel self-conscious, like a wound in you being really activated, that like you're not cool enough to sit at the table. And that to me is just like, whether it was accidental or not, I don't know or care about her actions, but that tells me something about the way she was treating you, that she made you feel that way. That is just unacceptable. And you know what? To her point, she says, it sounds like you don't like me anymore. I want to be like, yeah, because you don't make me feel good about myself. This person is so obviously not serving your life in a positive way anymore. And we talked on Monday's episode a little bit about like connecting to joy, reconnecting with love, and things that make us feel love. And I don't just mean like romantic love. I mean like that you feel valued and cherished. And when you don't feel valued and cherished, you feel neutral. You know what I mean? Like you never, like I can't think of a friendship that makes me feel truly bad about myself that would be worth keeping. And And here's another thing we do is that, like, we want things to be always good, particularly in friendships. We have this very romanticized understanding of, like, having friends forever. And, like, oh my God, my bridesmaids are going to be my best friend since I was a fetus. And then my best friend from middle school and my best friend, and we want to offer, like, endless forgivenesses to these people, but so much happened. So much went into this relationship deteriorating. It's not that you came in and weren't good enough for her. It's not just that she was an asshole either, right? It's the idea that your lives have grown in different directions and she was treating you poorly and you said, this is no longer serving me. And here's the reminder I was trying to say earlier, then I got off on some sort of tangent. I don't want you to look back on that 13-year friendship and say, oh, I wish we made it work because we were friends for so long. I want you to say, wow, I'm really proud of myself for having a standard to which people treat me and prioritizing relationships that make me feel safe and secure and loved. We prioritize relationships that are long-lasting over prioritizing relationships that are actually healthy, both romantic and in friendship, right? Like, I'm literally, as I'm saying this out loud, I'm recognizing how I am insecure and jealous of friendships that are long-lasting because I don't have comparable... Well, I do, because, like, you and I have been friends for, like, 16 years now.
Yeah, we've been friends for a long time.
Yeah, I know. Truthfully, that's great. And that makes me feel great about myself. But you're one of the only ones. It's like I'm friends with one friend from high school still. And sometimes I look at my friends from high school, their Instagrams, and I feel like, was I an asshole? Did I isolate them? Did I push them away? Yeah, probably I did, because I was, like, off living my own life.
Yeah.
But so this is all to say, like, I even do this. I prioritize long-lasting relationships over actually healthy ones. I long for them. And I want to shift my perspective to one that is saying, I want my friendships to be healthy and joy-driven and supportive, and I want them to be in alignment with my values. It doesn't sound like your friend. It's not just that you... To her point, she was like, it sounds like you don't like me anymore. Sure, that might be true because her behavior is making you second guess your opinions of her. But more so, is she acting in a way that is in alignment with your values and the way you want to be treated and treat other people? No, right? It's not that you don't like her. It's that you're disappointed in her and you don't like this behavior, and it's not matching what you want to build in your life.
There's always things to learn from situations as well. So I'll offer maybe this piece of, like, what's something that we can take away from this situation to help us grow and move into relationship maybe in different ways, which is just to say, all of these things kind of compounded in a way that you felt like you had to break off this relationship. And again, I think that was the right decision because, you were feeling bad about all of these things. And I think that growth in relationship asks us to address things that are making us uncomfortable in relationships and offer people the opportunity to change their behavior or to do something different, right? And I think as you're thinking about, like, how you want to move into relationship with this new coworker or how you want to engage in relationship with your partner as well, right? Like, are there places where you can stand up for yourself, where you can take up a little bit of space in the moment so that folks can understand that their actions are having an impact on you, right? Mm-hmm. Where are places where, you can start to show up for yourself before it gets to the breaking point? And this is, like, I'm telling you this because I'm telling myself this as well. It's really hard to stand up for myself when folks are saying something that I don't like, or when they make a promise that then they renege on or forget about or whatever it might be, right? Because, I think that your friend obviously was not treating you very well, and that was, like, happening over time. But I want you to also be able to move into relationship with other people and to be able to talk about these things as they come up for you, right? Because there are going to be opportunities where your new coworker or your partner says something unkind, or, forgets something, or does something that hurts your feelings by leaving you out of something, right? And your feelings are deserving of their attention, right? They're deserving of their tending to. And I also think that it also offers folks the opportunity to see and hear you and prove to you that they want to see and hear you. And it can offer a better understanding for you of like who's actually in it with you and who's not in it with you. And I don't think that your friend was in it with you. Like, I'm not trying to say that, but I'm saying this to you as somebody who also struggles with this. Like, I'm not going to talk about these things. And then suddenly we've got a list of things and it's like, I'm done. Understandably, like, I'm done. That actually, like, my kindness to myself and to the person I'm in relationship comes in the form of me actually expressing some of the hurt and grievance in the moment, or at least like really close after the moment, because I want to make sure that I'm standing up for what I know to be true and understanding that my feelings are worth me saying them out loud to other people. And because I want to offer folks the opportunity to be able to see that pain, to see that hurt, and figure out how to address it, right? To see how they behave and react when I say, the thing that you said actually really hurt my feelings. Can we talk about this? Or when you do this, it makes me feel really excluded. And that's really hard for me. To see how they react and respond, and also to kindly offer them the opportunity to do something different, right? To choose to behave in a way that actually is affirming of those feelings and sees me differently. Again, not that this is happening in this relationship or that you like should regret your breakup with this friend, but this is an opportunity to learn something, right? Like, this is an opportunity to take something with you into future relationships or current relationships that you are already in.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's a great point. All right, my darling, we love you so much. We believe in you. We're sorry this is hurting, but we absolutely think you made the right decision. Mostly we're just sorry, and we're here to tend to your feelings alongside you. We hope this helps.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for writing. We love you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like more content from us, or if you would like access to our monthly office hours, you can support us on Patreon. If you support us for as little as $5 a month on Patreon, you will get access to our monthly office hours, which is when Sierra and I hop on Zoom with any of our patrons who want to join us. We talk about a topic. We answer people's questions as they come up. The chat is always going with great stuff from other people who are answering your questions better than Sierra and I ever could. It's definitely worth it. It is an amazing experience. Our next one is actually coming up on July 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. So please support us. $5 a month. That's all you have to pay in order to get access to those. That's patreon.com/justbreakuppod.
You can slide into our DMs, send us your favorite relationship meme, but most importantly, you can submit your questions about all matters of the heart at justbreakuppod.com, which is also where you can find our merchandise.
Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and review. This literally keeps our mics on and helps us reach more brokenhearted souls who need two random strangers giving them relationship advice.
Just Break Up is a production of Duvid Media, original recording, editing, producing all magical things by our good friend Spencer Worth Davis. Make sure to check out his podcast and his music. And remember, relationships are not valued by how long they last, but instead how true they are to the participants within them. Are they kind? Are they loving? Do they grow together? Do they forgive mistakes and improve? Let's value relationships on their quality and not their length. And if all else fails,
just break up.